Hello, welcome to today's Launch and Learn demo session. Today we shall be looking at the final stage of the POS Analyzer software. We're today going to analyze the POS Analytic Engine Solution model. We just want to show you how this model works. Okay, so let me explain how the model works. Here you have the customer, bring out his card and pay merchant, okay, for goods bought and services rendered, okay. Once this payment is done, what the analyzer does is to allow all the transaction copy, okay, of the merchant transaction POS copy to be put in a funnel. So this is a system. This is a POS analyzer engine. This is a model, the solution model of on how it looks like. Okay. So all this will then be, the merchant, as we have advised you, once you keep a data of all your transactions for a week, you will then go to the bank and collect a bank statement. So this is a bank statement, and then you will upload this. This is already what you captured daily into your sales record, and of course you obtain the bank record, which you then upload into the POS Analytic Engine. So the POS Analytic Engine here uses a funnel-like solution, okay? So the first criteria is set here. And then for you to run this first criteria, which I'm going to show you in a demo session, how you run the first criteria, what it does is that it's going to compare. This is your bank statement. Look at here. This is your bank statement, okay, in this sphere. And this is the merchant sales record. Once you put these two records into the analytic engine, the analytic engine will use the first criteria to do this comparison. Now, in this intersection, what the transaction that is in merchant sales database and the transaction that is found in the bank statement is kept here in the intersection. So that's the first criteria. Now that will be sieved, that result will be sieved into the second part of the funnel. Okay, as you see this loop here now, it will be sieved here and this will run again. The system will now do a comparison based on second criteria. The system, the POS analyzer will now also do based on the third criteria. Now it will do based on the fourth criteria. There are four criteria that will be used to compare this data and the bank statement, what you obtain from the bank. At the end of the day, you will then be able to have what we call, the result here will be a disputed uncredited transaction. These are all the money that the bank did not credit into the merchant account will be received here. Now, if you look at this Venn diagram, you still remember this from your college or school set mathematics, okay? You've seen a diagram like this. Now, what is in intersection here? A POS transaction, sales record that is found in the merchant record and is also found in the bank statement. So what is found in both is kept in this intersection. Now, at the end of the day, there will be, after going through these four criteria, the system will generate some data here. So data that are here are data that are not found in this bank statement. So if you look at the bank statement, you look at the sphere of the bank statement here. So all the data that are thrown outside this sphere here now will be printed here as an uncredited transaction, which you then have to print back these. All the transactions that are found here, you then have to print this back, and the system will generate, the POS analyzer will generate to you a letter, accompanied letter, which you will then take it to your bank and ask them to reconcile the data and refund your money. Now let's do a demo, a quick demo. So once you log into POS Analyzer, you now come here and say, run comparative analysis based on the POS Analyzer, okay? Based on the captured data between sales data, merchant sales data, and the bank statement, okay? So we run. So what you basically do is to select your business unit, select the business branch at which the transaction was carried out, the terminal was used. Remember, if you've watched the previous video, we have loaded data for 30th and 31st of January, okay, for a bank name that is not known, is not shown here, okay. So you run this, the first criteria, you run this first criteria, you run the second criteria, you run the third criteria, you run the fourth criteria. That's what we have shown in the diagram here, okay. Once you obtain this record, okay, you will then run the first criteria, second criteria, third criteria, and the fourth criteria. And then you now ask the analytic engine to make a final decision. Let's run that and see what the final decision will look like. Okay, like I explained to you earlier, the final decision is running through criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria 3, criteria 4. The final data that you have that cannot be found here. So it's a very strict scrutiny between these two databases. Like I said before, if you don't have money to subscribe to our software, you can actually use Excel to do the same thing that we're doing here. I actually started using Excel before we had to code this programmatically or using a programming language to do the coding. Okay, so the final data that we have here is that whatever that we have outside here. When you do this comparison, whatever that is found outside this bank statement that is still left here, then what is here and what is in the sales record and what is in the bank statement, what is common will be pulled into the center here. Okay, and then what is left here is the undisputed transaction which you need to demand refund from your bank. Let's do a quick run of this system. Okay, so we'll now do run criteria 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we run the final, see how the final out view will look like. Okay, and then we also check from the two database what were the data that match. So you should be able to see the matching record here. So this way you have here is what will be the matching record. And then this one, what is found outside this domain here. Okay, so this is the first domain, this is the second domain. What is found out here after the 4 criteria has been run, so that is the undisputed transaction. Then let's do a quick demo. Okay, so if you pick this from 30, this one is not up to a week. I'm just running 2 days transaction. Okay, so let's see final decision. So once you run this final decision, you see the decision here, we use criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria 3, criteria 4. You should be able to have this. And we didn't have enough space, so we show you some of the criteria that we use, okay? The third and the fourth criteria is not here, but you can see the first criteria here, okay? Running on the first criteria between the two databases, okay? This is the customer that uses his card to buy. This is a 1213. Okay, so you have 52,700 is found on both database. All right, 3,000 is found on both database. 1,900 is found on both database. In terms of RRN, that is the reference number they are found. So for this one is not found. This one was not found. Remember, we ran 23 records. So this is a summary, looking at the 23 records. So you see here. So if you're also looking in terms of amount that was used on that day, on this particular day, comparing the amount, total invoice amount, you see this was found, for this one was yes, this one was yes, this one was yes. Now this is how the POS analyzer does. The final decision is looking at the 4 metrics, okay? So you see if it is no, 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 then analytic engine will say no. If it is yes, no, no, and no. Remember, we're using 4 criteria, okay? If one of these conditions is yes, it will say yes. If using the criteria to look at this database, what is here and what is here, once it sees, okay, so that one will now tick that one as a tick box, okay? The reason why the other ones may not be correct, maybe there was a data input error. For instance, now, if you look at the total number, maybe the reference number is the same. The total of that same reference number is different. Maybe this one is 20,000, this one is 2,000. It could be a data input error where the person who put the data probably will add additional 0 to 2,000 and that becomes 20,000. But if the reference number is correct, while that is wrong, the system will say the final decision will be yes. Okay, so this is how the system, after running all this, so after going through this first loop, second loop, third loop, and the fourth loop, it will do this comparison in each of them. All right, so this is how it generates this final record. So let's then look at the loop. Okay, this loop now, what is in between here after running this 4 loop? Let's see what will come out. So we provide you a system that allows you to run your analysis using different vintages. Okay, you should be able to get the same result, but human error and other things, we just try and make sure that thorough job is done, and then the final result, so that once you go back to the bank, they will not be able to challenge the outcome. They won't. Okay, all right, so let's look at what then is in between the two sphere, the two domain. Okay, so if comparing the two domain, Okay, so you find all the yes here. Okay, remember what I showed you before? Yes, yes, no, or no, yes, yes, no, no, yes. Okay, using the 4 criteria. So you then find all the yes based on the final decision. So you now check the final decision is that out of 23 record, 16 record met the criteria. Okay, so if you check here now, if you check here, this place here, this intersection here, there are 16 records. Okay, so we're going to tell you the other 7 records should be here, and then we'll print that out and take it to the bank. Okay, so and this is a value of the 16 record. Okay, that will come to 485,150 naira. Now, if this terminal, the system will also calculate, assuming the bank told you that the terminal they are charging 0.75%. The system calculate what it should be. This is what you are supposed to get in your account. This should be the settled amount. Okay, so if you're not getting this settled amount, then it means that maybe the commission, they've either overcharged the commission that they're supposed to charge. That's another beauty of this POS software. It does even checking the commission that the bank told you, agree with you that this is what we'll be charging. So let's then nosedive into the final decision, looking at the disputed records. What you don't agree with the bank, based on the record that you have kept, and I said effort must be made to make sure that that data is clean. And that's why we are asking you to use a software so that even the data that is not clean, you'll be able to clean up the data before this comparison is made. Okay, so we are not going to run the final result. Okay, so running this final result, out of 23 records, these are the 7 disputed records. Okay, the 7 records are the records that are found here in merchant record, somewhere here. It doesn't cross you here. I've shown you the 16 record that is here, this intersection. All the records that are found here that are not in this intersection and that are not also in the bank, they are found here. Okay, bank statement. So there are 7 records. So what are you expected to do? You now have to take action. So what action do we expect you to do? So what you do now, you now ask the system to generate you a letter to the bank. We don't want you to write the letter. We have put up a letter for you so that you could explain what you have done. And then you're going to print the receipt. Each of these receipts, you go to the system and print them. Okay, so we've asked the system now to print us this result. Okay, so if you look down here, a PDF letter is been printed for you. Let's open it. The system then prints a letter for you. Now this is the letter. This is the name of your company. This is your address, your phone number, your email. Okay, here it prints the terminal, that bank terminal. This bank name, FUX Banks Limited. Okay, the account name is DMAX Nigeria Limited. This is the account number that this you're holding as a merchant, you're holding with the bank. This is the POS name, First Paris POS, okay? And then this is the POS terminal number, all right? And then dear manager, FUX Bank Limited, okay? And then POS direct captured transaction not found in the bank statement, all right? So with make a statement here that will be very clear. The report date is that you run this report from 30th of January to 31st of January 2022. Now, these are the 7 records that were not found. So you put the customer ID. These are customers who use their card on this terminal with this terminal ID. Look at the terminal here, the terminal ID here. So these are this is the terminal ID, and this is the bank name. So you write to the bank, write to the manager of that bank, and then these are all the transactions the system has listed. They are listed. These are the invoice amount that were approved and the bank did not credit into your account. All that you need to do, use your company seal and seal this letter and then sign from here and submit it to the bank. Now, you also, remember I told you, you need to print all this transaction one by one, like this 7 record here. This one was for 31st, this is 30th, this 31st, this 30th, this 31st. So these 2 days that you run using the POS Analyzer, you have the bank to refund you 378,752 naira. Okay, so you are now giving the bank the chance. You've given them the terminal number. You've given them your account number. You've given them your corporate account name. Okay, you have given all the details about you. And of course, here when you run this and printed this from your system, the date is here. And then, for instance, we ran this today, 5th of May 2022. Okay, so you are now asking the bank to check and say this is a total disputed amount that the bank did not credit you within those 2 days, 30th and 31st of January 2022. You see how long I'm running this report now.
in May, but this incident, this account, the transaction actually happened in January. So it doesn't really matter how long it takes, but you can get the bank to refund you money. Again, it is important that you print the receipt, you scan the receipt and store in our system. Then if you watch our previous video, I've shown you how you can print this receipt. With this customer ID or the RRN, the transaction ID, you can go and print each and every one of them and attach to this letter and submit it to your bank for refund. And if you contact us, we'll tell you. If the bank doesn't respond, we'll tell you the next line of action to take. You will definitely get back your money. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next edition. For more information on how to stop POS fraud in Nigeria, please visit www.posanalyzer.com. And on the menu, please click on Demo Video. You will see all the videos that we have done, all the tutorials that we have done on this subject. Better more, you can search and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Evans Uko. You will see all the videos that we have made and all the tutorials that we have made on this subject. Even the new researches and revelations that we are having about the fraud that is going on the use of POS terminals in Nigeria, you will be able to follow all the discussion. Better still, please WhatsApp me on the number on the screen. And of course, you can also tweet at me. Please share this video to all merchants in Nigeria using POS. Number one reason why you must share this video is to help them reconcile their POS account with their various banks. Number two reason is to help them recover their money from the bank from all uncredited transactions. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next edition.